The size of the booth should be large enough to house a larger generator, in case power needed increases, or if we decide to buy a generator with an electric start, instead of modifying the previous one. Soundproofing can also be improved, in an extreme case, by building the booth out of concrete and brick, including the labyrinths, which further dampens sound propagation. Whatever we come up with, we will need a circuit which, in the event of a blackout or a severe drop in line voltage, immediately disconnects the system from the power company, and will not go back to the grid even if the usual voltage comes back. In order to achieve that, we must use a contactor with a contact capacity greater than that of the main breakers, so as to avoid overloading the contactor contacts. The RY1 contactor, when activated, stays locked on and keeps its 3 sets of contacts closed. Their output feeds the branch which includes the step-down transformers, for as long as the power grid is supplying power at the usual voltage, in this case, 260 volts alternating current. This branch is the power company fed bus. When a blackout, or a significant drop in voltage, occurs in the power grid, the RY1 contacts are released, and regardless of the power coming back at the usual voltage immediately, the contacts will remain open, avoiding false starts or applying very low voltage to the compressor motors, which can damage them. During this time, the generator can be started manually and wait for it to gain speed. This will cause it to start feeding the loads through another branch, which does not have any step-down transformers, since the generator voltage will always be at the right level, 220 volts alternating current. At the same time, the RY2 relay will disconnect the reset button, making it impossible to reconnect to the network by mistake whenever the generator is running. An alternating current voltmeter, panel type, with a full scale of 300 volts, must be installed at the output of the main switch in order to monitor the status of the power grid. If that voltmeter shows a reading of 260 volts alternating current for a reasonable amount of time, indicating that the power grid power is back and stabilized, the user will need to shut down the generator, thus enabling the reset button, so the coil will close all contacts in contactor RY1, and it becomes locked again. On the other hand, if the generator stops due to lack of fuel or some other problem, as soon as the generator stops supplying power, RY2 relay will enable the reset button, of course, if the power grid has already reached its usual voltage, in this case 260 volts alternating current. Please stay tuned for our next video, where we will see the option of activating the various loads in steps, so as not to overload the generator with several compressors starting at the same time.
I hope this video has been useful to you. Thanks for watching and please, subscribe to my channel. Shava ta'in.